LGBTQ2 plus.
Gay! All right, guys, let's kick this segment off with a tweet, a simple tweet, a meme, if you will, from a specific account. This comes from Do It. There we go. This comes from Twitter again. This is from Pride UK. Pride UK. It's just a simple little image, little meme, whatever. It says equal rights for others does not mean fewer rights for you. It's not pie. Well, I am someone that likes to find common ground on things. I like to meet in the middle where I can. Of course, I have my own perspectives and I do lean to the right. No question about that. I got a lot of gay friends. I do. And I love them. I got no problem with them. I have problems from within this community, and they're very specific issues that I have. And those issues I have are part of this statement right here. This equal rights for others does not mean fewer rights for you. I'll argue that one a little bit. Let's talk about it a little bit. Before we do, let's look at some of the comments here. So again, this is from Pride UK. Again, I will have the link in the show notes below, so you can go check this out and read these tweets and replies and everything yourself. By the way, again, I've mentioned this before. I am new to Twitter, so I'm a new twit. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm learning it as I go. I probably have like 12 followers, and I have no idea how many I'm following. I know nothing. Have mercy on me. I'm an old man. All right, so let's take a look at this one right here. Yay. First one, look what we got. Get lost groomers. It is when those rights I think that's infringe on others, such as single sex spaces and competing in sports, which is going to be the big one I get into. I want to take a look at that one. And this is another comment, I think, kind of backing that up. If it means there are no longer single sex spaces, sports, and prisons, then yes, we are indeed losing rights. This isn't complicated. Not housing males and females together in prison is in the Geneva Convention, for Christ's sake. Trans rights are man's rights. Not wrong on that one. Who's going to tell them? It's most definitely is a pie. If a lesbian cannot say she only likes, or a gay he only likes, without getting verbal abuse, then trans rights most definitely are a danger. Yeah, I guess. I don't know if I get that one so much, but yeah. Oh, and here's a good point right here. And this we may dive into a little bit next week on the show. There's if you can't see it, LGB, and then it's got scissors TQ. So the separation right there. And I've talked about that before. I have no problem with the LGB portion of it. It's once you get outside of that I start kind of having issues, to be honest with you. Nope, not going to do a super deep dive today. Sorry, my mind was going there for a second. Not going to do a super deep dive today. We'll save that for another time. So, you know, there's obviously a push for more diversity, and by diversity in our common spaces, I do mean that singular diversity. Right? I don't mean actual diversity. I mean, the only ones that matter aren't just people from the alphabet community, but only those that are on board with the entire movement and agenda. So inclusion and diversity and all that, not just for gay people that are gay, but you legit have to be sold out for this entire agenda, movement, and everything like that. So again, we'll have folks on our show that are part of the community, but part of a portion of the community. You know what I'm saying? They feel the same way I do. We've got groups out there called Gays Against Groomers. There's a couple of folks I know that are involved with that. And for the most part, I know a lot of people that are like, look, we ain't diddling kids. I don't want to tell you about my sex life. I don't want to hear about yours. I'm not going to walk around butt naked. I expect you not to do the same out in public. You know, common sense stuff. But again, you've got people within this community, again, it's toward the end of the alphabet there, of the community there, that are pushing all kinds of crazy, weird stuff. That said, we're going to look at a couple of examples real quick on how this does, in fact, actually push against not just people's rights, but how it is impacting people that are not part of this community. First up, this comes from MRC TV. Biological man sets new women's track records with times that would have been last. In men's, this is not the first time we've seen something like this. It won't be the last. So this is a biological man competing in a women's sports against other women. Take a look at the images there. Not the most feminine looking. Next up, the Daily Signal. Biological male wins NCAA women's track championship. Of course, there you see him running on the left. And a stark difference between, I'm going to say him and the other competitor there on the right. Yeah. And so we see him out here in the sports just running over these women, right? Let's keep going. How about this one from post-millennial trans-identified biological male? Don't care anything about the trans-identified, but a biological male wins women's cycling event in New York, towers over second, third place competitors in podium. Moving on to like beauty pageants and whatnot here, we've got from Gateway Pundit, biological man wins Miss Netherlands 2023, set to compete in Miss Universe. This is the one I remember when I saw this come out, I was like, how did that win? And then I saw who he was up against, and I'm floored because I have seen people that have gone trans. Blair White's an example that pulled it off and pulled it off very well. This dude right here, not so much. How about another one? An overweight bloke just won a Miss America beauty pageant. This is from Spike. It said the first trans winner of Miss Greater Dairy has put the misogyny of transgenderism on full display. This is another one. Look at all the peers there that he was up against, and he won. You can't tell me this is natural. You can't tell me that people legit believe in what they're voting for. This is all a ploy. Here's another one from NBC News. Nevada pageant winner to become first transgender Miss USA contestant. My win is our win. We just made history. Happy Pride. That's supposed to be her voice as a him. Anyways, yeah, I mean, look at those first two pictures. I don't know about that. That third picture, maybe. But no, I mean, look at all these people winning pageants, these Miss whatever pageants, and they're dudes. Last one, biological male wins Miss Valley Isle USA pageant in Hawaii. Of course, there you see him strutting stuff on the left, and again on the right. Kind of passable, maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna go ahead and get this off the screen though, because I'm staring a little too long. Look, the point to all this is very simple. Look, we're not trying to take other people's rights away or force people into a box. But here's what's happening. There is an agenda at play. You can say there's not. There is. There is an agenda at play. There's a movement afoot. And men, this is why women have to speak up, okay? Men are taking over women's sports. Men are taking over women's beauty pageants. Men are being put in women's prisons, graping, I'll use that word, the women that are in there, impregnating them, beating them up. I mean, those of you that are watching, look, I get that you want to be sympathetic to these people, and I do too. I think most of them do suffer from, a mental illness, gender dysphoria, or it's just a social thing where they want to blend in, and this is the current thing, whatever. I don't know. But there's most definitely a movement, and people are sold out for it. Perfect example of taking a woman's job. Even when I was filling the overlays up earlier to have all those pictures for you, do you know who I had to replace that was in there? Sydney Sweeney, scantily clad, lovely, all female Sydney Sweeney. I replaced her with dudes. She's something else. All right. Who remembers this? This is the deaf, mute, trans in a one of those music singing competitions like American Idol or whatever. This is foreign, and This is Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You. Now, I'm not going to play the whole song, if you can call it that. But we're going to look at it real quick, and you tell me what you think. They were cheering it on, him on. Shimon. They were cheering Shimon. And, I mean, he couldn't hear them. They could have just went, who knows? Whatever. Check it out. You can hear a little laughter in there.
Super famosa na cidade dela, e ela, embora tenha essa limitação,
this isn't a skit or anything. Okay, this isn't a skit. I mean, yeah, you can hear people laughing, but look how serious they were taking it. I want to see like the judges. Look, here's a judge. Oh, he's so deep. This is the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life. Hit that high note for me. What even is that?
What the hell is even that?
Let's get here, yeah. What is she doing? You can't tell me these people were not trying to not laugh at that. I mean, you heard people in the audience. This dude's covering his face. He's laughing. You know he is. The only reason a deaf mute person was put into this competition was for one reason, one reason alone. Trans. How embarrassing for that person. They can't sing. They can't hear. What a challenge enough. But then they were a box that got checked because this network was like, hey, let's put a tranny out there. Who did they please with this? You know what? Let's look at some of these comments because I was like, We'll just go through a few here. My brother's Rottweiler slammed his nuts on a fence one time and made this exact noise. The best part is the jury trying to look very serious and deeply touched. It's a metaphor for everything going on. Get used to this. This is the future of entertainment industry. I never realized that entire song consisted of just one word being repeated over and over. The bloke could play Chewbacca. My dog loved it, the song, and the song of the ancients. And it's more and more of that. And I don't want to pick on him too bad just because I'm not a jerk. But this is someone who's suffering from something. I'm sure of it, right? But yeah, girls, young women, like my little girl, are at risk of losing their, maybe not their rights necessarily. Yeah, well, kind of rights, right? They're definitely at risk of losing opportunities. We saw that with the sports and with the pageants. Now, my daughter's not a girly girl. She hasn't done the pageants and stuff like that, but she has done sports and she's excelled in her sports. She's excelled in her, what do you call it? The vocational part of school and stuff like that. I mean, she's sharp. She's awesome. I'm super proud of her. But what's going to happen when she goes and decides she's going to sign up for soccer and plays, and she has to play against grown boys of her age group that are biological males running all over them. Now, Daddy's going to have a problem with that. You know, a dude running over my baby angel sweetie pie out there on the field. Daddy might be out there on the field, and their daddy needs to roll up on the field because I'm gonna handle that too. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so my little girl, and I'm not just speaking for my little girl. I'm your little girl, your little girls, your friends' little girls, your nephews and nieces and cousins, and all these children that are going to be impacted by this. I do lean on the side of the girls because you don't see that many girls transitioning into boys and competing with them. It's mostly impacting the girls in the girl sports and young women and whatnot. And you look at Riley Gaines and what happened with her and Leah Thompson and the Leah Thomas. You know, got to put some respect on that name. Leah Thomas for the swimming, right? But yeah, so the little girls competing in sports, going into the locker rooms or the restrooms and having to share them with boys. Doesn't sound like a good time for anybody. Again, Daddy has a problem with that. And when I say, again, my child, I'm thinking of all children. The children that are making their way through life right now, just figuring themselves out, figuring life out, completely impressionable, and developing, you know, physically, emotionally, hormonally, all that stuff. It's a weird, crazy time for them as it is already. The last thing that I want to worry about is my little girl being able to use the bathroom or the locker room and be at risk of seeing a big old dangly dick.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out this clip from the Morning Mayhem. Remember, this is just a portion of the full show that comes out every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you hadn't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the full shows or these tasty little nuggets.